Meet Mark and Sarah Chen. He writes software. She runs IT from a spare bedroom that smells faintly of coffee and printer toner. Together, they pull in about $250,000 a year in suburban Calgary, and they thought they had money figured out. Then they had Emma. Today we follow Emma from her first night home to the morning she leaves for university. 18 years, every line item in real $26. By the end, you will have the actual total most parents only half know. It is a big number. Stay with me because the shape of it might surprise you. Sarah asked it first, somewhere around Emma's second week, holding a bottle in the dark. How much is this actually going to cost us? Most parents Google it once, see a scary headline, and close the tab. The honest answer is that it depends on where you live, what you earn, and 100 small choices you make without noticing. So we built it properly. We took Statistics Canada's framework, layered on 2026 prices, and walked it through one real feeling family in one real city, Calgary, Alberta. A household doing well, by most measures. Here is what 18 years of Emma actually looks like. The spending starts before the birth. Mark and Sarah set up the nursery in a weekend and a small panic, a crib that converts as she grows, around $600. A car seat, because the hospital will not let you leave without one, another $300. Stroller, $500 if you are sensible, and far more if you are not. Add a dresser, a monitor, bottles, and the soft mountain of clothes she will outgrow by autumn. Roll it together, and the Chens spent close to $4,000 on gear before Emma slept a single night at home. One-time money mostly. It still leaves a mark on the account. Here is the cost nobody puts on a baby registry. Income. Sarah took 12 months of leave. Employment insurance covers a slice of your salary up to a weekly cap, and for a $90,000 earner, that cap stings. Her take-home dropped by roughly half for the better part of a year. Some employers top that up. Many do not. The Chens lost something in the range of $25,000 to $30,000 in real household income during Emma's first year. Money that never shows up in a cost of a baby list because you never see it arrive. That gap is the quiet first chapter of the bill. Year one ends, leave runs out, and both parents go back to work. This is the moment families used to dread. Not long ago, an infant space in Calgary ran $1,400 to $1,500 a month. That is more than many mortgage payments. For two-income couples, it was the single scariest number on the whiteboard, the one that made people whisper about whether work even paid. The Chens braced for it. They had a spreadsheet ready and a knot in their stomachs, and then they found out the math had quietly changed underneath them. Which brings us to the thing most parents still do not fully believe. Here is the did you know beat. Canada has spent the last few years building a national $10 a day childcare system, and by 2026 it is largely real. 6 provinces and territories have hit or beaten the target. Quebec, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and a few others now post fees near $10 a day for a licensed space. For a family there, that old $1,400 monthly figure has collapsed to a couple $100. Think about what that does to the early years math. The biggest line item of the last generation, the one that pushed parents out of the workforce, got cut by most of its size in about 4 years. Now the twist, because the Chens live in Calgary. Alberta is one of the provinces that did not fully reach $10. It moved to a flat fee instead, landing around $15 a day, which works out to roughly $326 a month per child as of 2025. The province says it is aiming for the full $10 mark, though many Calgary parents are still paying the $15. So Emma's daycare costs the Chens about $3,900 a year, not the $17,000 it would have a decade ago. Still a bill, a completely different planet from the one their friends warned them about. Let us add up Emma's toddler to kindergarten stretch, roughly ages 1 through 5. Childcare at the Alberta flat rate runs about $3,900 a year. Across 4 years before full-day school, that is near $15,000 total. A decade ago, the same 4 years would have cleared $60,000 in this city. On top of that, come the things daycare does not cover. Diapers and wipes for the early stretch, around $1,000 a year. A wardrobe she keeps outgrowing. The first round of swimming lessons that she mostly cries through. Even with the subsidy, the early years still land somewhere around $35,000 once you count everything. Cheaper than before, far from free. Emma starts kindergarten, public school, no tuition, and Mark says the words every parent says, "Great, now it gets cheap." It does not get cheap, it gets sneaky. The fees are smaller but constant. Registration for soccer in the spring, skating in the winter, with skates she will outgrow by playoffs, a recorder for music class that the whole house comes to regret, class trips, hot lunch days, the book fair she finds at exactly the wrong moment. None of it is huge on its own. Together, the school-age activity and supply bill for the Chens runs about $3,500 a year, every year, like a subscription you cannot cancel. Then there is the spending that never feels like spending. Before and after school care, because both parents work and the bell rings at 3:15. That alone can run $400 a month in Calgary. Birthday gifts for the 11 classmates who all have parties in February. Costumes, fundraisers, the photo package you swear you will skip and then buy anyway. Sarah started tracking it for 1 month out of curiosity. The miscellaneous kid line came to almost $600, and she could not point to a single big purchase. That is the texture of raising a child, not the dramatic bills, the steady drip you stop noticing by the time she is 10. Emma turns 13, and the fridge develops a leak, a teenager-shaped one. Mark swears he buys groceries twice as often now. He is not wrong. Statistics Canada pegs food for a teenager well above what a small child eats, and in 2026 prices, a hungry 14-year-old runs the household roughly $350 a month just for her share of the table. That is breakfast she skips, lunch she trades, dinner she demolishes, and the late snack that empties a box of cereal in one sitting. Over the teen years, Emma's food alone clears $4,000 a year. The Chens stop buying the good cheese. It never lasts. A teenager comes with a data plan. The Chens held out until grade 8, then folded like everyone folds. Phone and plan. Call it $60 a month once you spread the device cost out. Clothes change too. The outgrown-it bills of childhood become the brand bills of high school, where the same hoodie costs 4 times what it should because of 2 letters on the chest. Add the movie nights, the bubble tea runs, the gift exchanges. Emma's personal and social spending in her teens settles near $2,400 a year. Mark calls it the cost of her having a life. He pays it without much argument. At 16, Emma gets her license, and Mark gets a phone call from his insurer that ruins his afternoon. Adding a teen driver in Alberta is brutal. A new young driver can lift a family's auto premium by $2,000 to $4,000 a year, and that is before she has touched a bumper. The Chens did not buy Emma a car. They simply let her drive the old Corolla, and the insurance alone cost more than the car was worth. 2 years of that before university is real money. Figure $6,000 in added premiums across her last stretch at home for the privilege of her driving herself to work. The final years at home come with a second job for the parents, saving for the years that come right after. University is not in today's total. We are counting the cost of raising Emma to 18, and tuition is its own video. Even so, every honest parent knows the bill is parked on the horizon, getting closer with each report card. So the Chens did what stretch families have always done. They paid their future selves a little every month, quietly, on top of everything you have already seen. It is not painless. It is the part of the budget that guards the next chapter of her life. Here is the smartest move in this whole video, and many parents walk right past it. A registered education savings plan is the account you open for Emma's schooling, and Ottawa pays you to use it. Through the Canada Education Savings Grant, the government adds 20 cents on every dollar, up to $500 a year and $7,200 over her childhood. That is a guaranteed return before any investing happens. The Chens put in $208 a month, the amount that catches the full grant. Started at birth and left to compound, that habit can grow past $90,000 by the time Emma is 18. The scary tuition figure, pre-funded while she was in diapers. Now we slow down and itemize, category by category, birth to 18. Start with food, because it never stops. A baby is cheap to feed. A toddler, less so. A teenager is a small, polite famine. Averaged across 18 years, with prices rising the way 2026 prices have, Emma's food costs the Chens somewhere near $2,800 a year. Low at the start, high at the end. Run that over the full childhood, and food alone lands around $48,000, almost $50,000, most of it eaten standing up at the kitchen counter, half of it after you said the kitchen was closed. Here is the category most parents never count, and it is usually the biggest one. A child needs space. That extra bedroom, the bigger place you chose partly because of her, a slice of the heating bill, and the property tax and the mortgage interest. Statistics. Canada attributes a real share of household shelter costs to each child, and in a Calgary home, it is not small. For the Chens, Emma's housing share works out to roughly $3,800 a year once you fold in her room and her portion of the bills. Across 18 years, that quietly becomes about $68,000. The most expensive thing about Emma is the roof. Childcare used to be the headline of any video like this. In 2026, it is a supporting character. For the Chens in Calgary, the flat Alberta rate carried the early years at about $3,900 annually, with before and after care bridging the school years. Add it up, and Emma's total childcare across her whole childhood comes to roughly $28,000. Hold that number next to the old world for a second. A family raising a kid through the 2010s in this same city could spend twice that on the toddler years alone. The national program rewrote this line in about half a decade. Whatever else you think of it, the budget impact is plain. 3 more categories before the total. Clothing first. Babies need everything. Teens need brands, and the in-between years are a slow river of shoes that fit for 10 minutes. Call it $1,100 a year, around $20,000 across the childhood. Activities and the social life next. Sports, lessons, camps, the teenage outings. The Chens averaged near $3,000 a year here, which is about $54,000 over 18 years, and frankly, a choice they could dial up or down. Health extras last. Dental gaps, the orthodontist, Prescriptions. The glasses she sat on twice. Even with provincial coverage, the leftovers run close to $1,200 a year. Another $21,000 by the end. So, 18 years of Emma, in a $250,000 Calgary household, in 2026 dollars. Childcare, around $28,000. Food, about $48,000. Housing share, near $68,000. Clothing, $20,000. Activities, $54,000. Health extras, $21,000. Add the early gear, the lost parental leave income, the teen driver premiums, the steady drip of invisible costs. It all settles at roughly $350,000. Take a breath. That is birth to 18, before a single dollar of university. In much of this country, it is the price of a house, spent one juice box and one hockey registration at a time. And here is the part worth sitting with. It is lower than it would have been 5 years ago because of childcare. That $350,000 is one family in one province. Move the Chens and the number moves with them. Drop them in Quebec, where subsidized daycare has run for decades and living costs sit lower, and the total slides well under $320,000. Put them in Vancouver or the pricier corners of Ontario, where housing share alone balloons and it climbs past $370,000. Alberta lands in the middle, which is roughly where we put them. Now the question Sarah actually asked, what if Emma had a sibling? A second child is cheaper per kid. Hand-me-downs, a shared room, a sibling daycare discount. 2 children might cost the Chens about $620,000 total, not double, roughly $310,000 each. Here is the idea that should make you feel a little better. 2 families can raise the same happy kid for wildly different money. Picture a lean version of Emma's childhood. Second-hand gear, library cards over toy stores, one sport at a time, road trips instead of flights. That childhood comes in near $250,000, and she remembers it as golden. Now picture the loaded version. Travel teams, private lessons, the bigger house, the newer everything. Same 18 years, same love, north of $450,000. Most of the gap is not need, it is choice. Once you can see which line items are choices, the total starts to feel like a dial you control. So yes, Emma costs the Chens around $350,000. Written down, it looks impossible, but notice how it actually arrives. Spread across 18 years, it is a few $100s most months and a big breath in September. Families carry it the way families always have, in pieces, alongside everything else, and somehow the fridge stays full enough. The number is large because the years are long, and the love is daily. That is the whole story. If this gave you a clearer picture of the real cost, send it to one parent who needs to see it, and subscribe so the next Looney Logic breakdown finds you. Thanks for watching.